Aloha. I want to make a quick video and share a thought in reference to channelers and my perspective on what I think channelers are, what that energy is. And I'll play this so you can go through and see what's coming through. But before, I'll give like a little precursor, I guess. Where I'm coming from is, we all know that the system of control, the last few videos I've been speaking on have been referencing an energy, a destructive intelligence, and energy that means to control. We've seen how this system utilizes intelligence, emotion, manipulation, fear, different types of energies in order to control individuals and the masses. You can see this in politics. What I want to focus on is, to also keep this video short, is this system you can see in the military, in the wars. All of the wars are played, the power grid plays both sides of every war. The colonial program played the side with Stalin, Hitler, and played the British and the United States sides to generate this perspective, this vibration throughout the masses. This design is developed over time based upon the level of consciousness that will accept that control. And how I'm seeing the energetic perspective of reality in reference to this destructive intelligence that can be seen as like a disembodied energy, a disembodied entity, a parasitic consciousness. So you can understand human consciousness has what children are. They are manifested with this love, genuine love, unconditional love, this beautiful intelligence, empathy, compassion. All of the highest vibrations are expressed from the childlike, the inner childlike, and the childlike expressions of this human experience before they get sucked into the structure of this mind control program. That is the essence of humanity. It's this purity of energy that is directly connected to the soul essence of spirit, the soul. So as I've been saying in other videos, this materialistic reality, in order to maintain control, they have to create limitations. You cannot control empowered beings. You have to de-evolve, in a sense, the consciousness of the people, like I was explaining in the last video, how we are being locked into the animalistic mentality, the animalistic consciousness, that is different than the human consciousness when we believe in monkey evolution and the university mentality of the Big Bang theory, the law of, or the theory of relativity and the theory of gravity that's built on top of that. All these are theories. These are based upon, those theories generate the way we perceive our entire universe, the way we perceive the entire earth plane. When you are engaging in the way conscious beings perceive, believe their experience into being, like I've been explaining, everything starts at the soul, then to the mind, then to the body. The way you perceive the universe is the way you perceive your so-called beginning, your experience. It's the full loop of perceiving your body. We get stuck in the linear perspective of life and death when you believe in the university system that's based upon atheism. NASA, SpaceX, and even the New Age perspectives of this secret space program disclosure reality based upon planets that are out there, outside of you, energies that are outside of you in the artificial universe based upon theories. It separates you from your soul, simultaneously locks you into your body. That is an energy. Our soul, these disembodied entities, this parasitic consciousness is, like I said in previous videos, can be seen, it exists just like you exist in your subconscious reality. The subconscious vibration that you are is the 99th percentile of who you are. The body is only a 0.0001% of who you are, which is how the system can control you. So if you were for this moment to release the body and say, well, I am the spirit, and realize that you are your higher mind, your higher bodies are having an experience outside of the physical reality that is actually more tuned in to this earth plane experience as a whole, outside of what the university plays for you to believe. The university system is the left hand of the government. The government is the control grid. NASA is part of the government and the NASA program, and the university system. It's all one big program. So it's boxes within boxes. And like I said in the beginning of this video, just like the so-called powers that be, both embodied and disembodied play both sides of war, you better believe that they are playing both sides of your engaging your vibrations, your frequency. By that meaning the highest vibrations and the lowest vibrations. The highest vibrations being the love, compassion, empathy, the energy that children and your inner child expresses outside of the side effects of this control grid, and balanced out with the depths of fear and destruction and separation from your soul essence with the lower vibrations. So you have the depths of the lowest vibration and the depths of the highest vibrations, and your conscious reality is the bridge, your free will choice to literally create your conscious reality based upon your own perspective, your thought frequencies. How deeply you tune in to your subconscious infinite soul record and bring that, manifest that in, that essence, that beauty, the highest vibration of who you are, you bring that into your conscious reality, and you are literally raising the vibration of not only yourself but everybody around you. You can see this when you're surrounded by people who just have shitty attitudes compared to people who are like genuine, real ass people that are cool and funny and that, continually build people up. That's an actual life that exists. That's an actual energy that exists on every plane. Not just the physical reality and how you experience, you're around shitty people that make you drop your coffee on your lap or something like that. It doesn't just exist on the plane of coffee dropping on your lap. It exists in the vibrations of your soul essence. So, being that we can understand that this parasitic consciousness that is based upon control, that needs to lock down the consciousness of the highest vibrating beings, or one of the highest vibrating beings, focusing on humanity right now, because there's other high vibrating beings in this reality, possibly even disembodied. I'm not even possibly, there are Anyway, I want to get off topic. I want to stay on this channeling and playing both sides of the reality format. So, if we can understand that this parasitic consciousness, in order to maintain empty vessels, they have to dumb you down, keep you ignorant, separate you from your soul, separate you from your mind, your higher mind, your intellect, and destroy your body and keep you barely alive, barely functioning, so you do not become empowered. There's an intelligence on every level: the soul, the mind, and the body. When you are tapping into your subconscious record, all of who you are, that is the soul intelligence. When you are tapping into your higher mind, when you activate the intuition and the highest perspectives of your reality in your waking state, that's your intellectual higher mind. That's your mind. And then you have your body mind, which is when you can balance out all of your energy systems and be more sensitive, be more empathic to what's going on. And it plays, and they set the foundations for everything. So just as much as it goes from the soul to the mind to the body, you are also rooting and anchoring deeper layers of yourself and potentialities when you activate higher vibrations of your body to the mind to the soul. In order for your mind to function at its highest capacity, it needs to be, it's in relation to your body's functioning at its highest capacity, in reference to your relationship to the soul's capacity, that engaged in that reality, all running smoothly. An engine, a well-oiled machine. That's what you are as the non-physical you that you are. That non-physical you that you are is also balanced by the conscious and the subconscious, the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies, the sun and the moon, the electric and the magnetic, the hot and the cold, the light and the dark. That's what this all is. There are layers of who and what we are. Outside of the body, you have yourself engaging in this experience, this chess game, in a sense, that you're playing against yourself, really, but that is also activated on a conscious scale throughout the collective. So this is how you yourself can be vibrating at a high vibration, but be surrounded by people who are having difficulty even getting through the day. So this is just, we are all together in this. We're all in the same experience. You are an individual, but you are also part of a greater, like a higher, a group, your soul family, all the way up to the Most High. In reference to playing both sides of reality to maintain control, I am seeing these channels and channelers in reference to the limitations of the new age, which is completely out of balance. And I've mentioned, for people who listen to these videos, they know what I'm talking about. And I made some videos in the past about this, and I'll link them in the description so you can check them out if you want to know more. But the new age has limitations when it's locked in to the structure that the control grid has put out, like the NASA programming, like the secret space program and the disclosure. It is powerless to ask your slave masters to give you information that you already have the capacity to understand, understand, and overstand yourself. It is powerless to give all of your power away to an extraterrestrial energy, so-called extraterrestrial energy, when you haven't even activated the maximum potential of your terrestrial energies. We have zero understanding of what the earth plane relationship is to humanity and the human consciousness on one basic scale, because we are still believing, largely many people are still believing in the NASA programming, in the government, which is the government programming, which is a mind control program. It's based upon limitation and deception, not just on your conscious mind, not just so they can get tax money and profit and pocket all of that money from you not understanding the depths of this reality, but also to simultaneously separate you from your soul essence, just like the mainstream religions do, just like your mainstream media does with your intellectual mind, your higher mind. Every layer is a chess game that's being played in order to maintain control for the parasitic consciousness that is working the joystick or the control panel of this system, of this earth plane experience. And if we do not decipher and address each and every program that has been presented to us to maintain those limitations, then we will definitely be falling into another trap by the same controllers who continue to beat the war drums and amplify the military-industrial complex and the prison-industrial complex and the colonial program over generations and decades. If we do not address the obvious potential that if they have been playing, if this energy has been playing the side of destruction, you have to understand that they will also be playing the side of so-called creation and connection and love. If they're playing you with fear, you have to be it's an ignorant space to be in to think that they won't try to play you with love. And the most obvious representation of that experience are these channelers and this information that comes through. When I listen to it, I can feel what it's talking about. I see its potential, like how it helps people. I also see its limitations, especially when they don't speak on the indigenous people. They don't speak about any kind of like what's going on the ground level, and then that's a whole like defense mechanism for the thing itself. It says, oh well, these are higher energies, they don't affiliate, that's our responsibility. But that's the thing in the so-called New Age movement. They say that's your responsibility, but you don't do anything about it. You just let the system, the same controllers, do whatever it is that they're going to do. It's the same powerless perspective. Not to mention the fact that this individual that I'm getting ready to play this same individual, Kryon, he speaks at the United Nations. This is the pinnacle of the mind control program of the human consciousness as a whole. Those groups of people, I don't see how like we don't make these correlations. So you have Kryon speaking at the United Nations. You got the obvious fact, if they're going to play you with fear, they're going to play you with love. This is not a dumb system. This parasitic consciousness is not, it's an intelligence. It has an intelligence. So you have to believe it's not just about destruction. It's also about this love and light mentality that's being played, because like I said in previous videos, in order for this control grid to continue to expand, it has to play to the level of consciousness of the people. And if the people's level of consciousness is shifting from war and destruction to love, peace, and creation, then you have to understand that control grid is going to play those heartstrings like a cheap fiddle in order to maintain control. And the most obvious shit that's out there, when you see Oprah's network, Super Soul Sunday, bringing Eckhart Tolle on on her Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra on her TV show, meanwhile still having Monsanto ads in her magazine at the same time. If that ain't the slightest bit fucking suspicious to you, I don't know what else to say. That's just on one mainstream perspective. Then you have Kryon speaking at the United Nations while they continue to expand the colonial program and expand the military-industrial complex, expand the prison-industrial complex, continue to shoot people and lock people up and poison people with the food and the water and the air, continually expand the war and destructive energies, but we don't make these connections. We've been so desensitized and so locked in to this fear and destructive mentality that when people escape into the New Age community, it is too difficult to even look outside of that box at what is just outside of the door, what's right down the street. And this channeler-channel relationship is a generic, it's like a frequency, it's like a cable channel, literally. It's like a TV station that plays through individuals who open themselves up to an energy that can be transmuted and interpreted into a language that is no different than the soul essence that you are's relationship to your body. So instead of you speaking as yourself, you are channeling these channelers like Bashar is like a MTV, Kryon is like a VH1. These other people like the Pleiadians are like a Oprah Winfrey network. That's a mainstream channel. That's how I'm seeing what channelers are. And if you maintain a one-dimensional perspective of your reality and don't realize that this destructive intelligence can and does play both sides of reality, you can see this with individuals in the New Age community. These gurus, these fake-ass gurus who take advantage of people. If you know that an individual guru can take advantage of not only just one people, but hundreds of people, thousands of people can take advantage of people, then you have to understand that that can also exist on the disembodied planes of existence. It also exists in the government. It's also understood by these so-called secret space program individuals and so on and so forth. This is not a one-dimensional checker game. This is chess for your soul, your mind, and your body. And your subconscious and conscious intelligence, energies, spirit, balances are being played every single moment of your day. However you consume your day, whether it's by the internet, social media, the mainstream media, alternative news, new age information, channelers, whatever it is, it's not you directly tuning into who and what you are and that pure relationship to your soul essence. Anything in between will muddy the waters. And these channelers are muddying the waters with glitter mud. It's like fairy dust, muddy waters. And since we've just been drinking muddy water for so long, and this is shiny, people drink this shit up. So that's basically what I wanted to share with this video. I wanted to give my perspective on channeling and what I think it is. It's a generic it's like the mainstream potentiality for human consciousness. So when they put out these articles and these videos talking about we're getting new frequencies, you don't need to. It's happening naturally. Whatever's happening doesn't need to be written in a damn article and sent through social media for you to be actually tuning it in. In fact, the more tuned in you are naturally without even paying attention to, the more it will be affecting you. The more it will manifest into your reality. So, channelers are distractions from your maximum potential and the collective maximum potential. And instead of destruction like politicians do it, they send it down with love and say, this is the God essence of this reality, and so on and so forth. And yes, all this stuff resonates on a layer of truth. But when you take the divine complexities of humanity and the potentials of humanity and turn it into a peanut butter and jelly sandwich channel and just water it down to this basic, simple, boring ass reality, there is an intention there. There is an intention to focus all of your energy on one side of reality and not to understand, understand, and overstand the other sides of reality. That is the biggest downfall of the New Age community. And these channelers are like the front lines. They hold that line. They hold that so-called love and light frequency, that unconditional love frequency, so that you, instead of giving your power away through fear and war and destruction, you now give your power away to love and light and the idea of the Godhead creation. And still, what happens? You do not activate and engage your meaning and your purpose because you have just watered down your soul with another out of balanced frequency, because it's been prepackaged for you and you've been soaked by generations of how many generations have been subjected to the destructive intelligence. Now you have all these empathic children and young adults who are here, full of compassion and open and tired of all the war and destruction. And now they're completely open. And instead of looking at every single degree, every single angle of what the human experience has gone through, we just accept whatever sounds and feels right. Because that's what basically the TV says. Channelers, MTV, VH1, CBS, ABC, CNN, and MSNBC, those are channels for a mainstream program to control you with low vibrations. Channels are, and channelers are just another form of limitation that is not at all separate from this entire control grid. If we just accept it because it feels good, then it's ignorant. And this system banks on that. And this is why I think it's so difficult for people in the New Age community and to let go of the globe model, to let go of the NASA programming and that mind control, because that literally uproots the idea of the synthetic universe that this control grid has been building up for centuries in order to play the consciousness when it shifts from one vibration to the next. When it shifts from the iron mentality, the iron age, into a golden consciousness, right at that time frame, the control grid will activate the new age. And these channelers are at the front line. This is what I'm saying. They're seeing is what they are, because they repeat themselves constantly and never engage in all sides of reality. They in fact keep away from information. It's not human. So if that's another way to look at this. This energy is not human. And they tell you this. So why is the human consciousness listening to a non-human energy as the leaders of where your consciousness should go? I don't give a shit how wonderful their information is. I don't give a shit. Because it's not only about what they're saying, it's also about what they're not saying, what they are not addressing. The New Age doesn't give a shit about the Black Panthers. The New Age doesn't give a shit about anything outside of the Love and Light program. So who is going to address these issues that people are still struggling with every day? That energy is not at all addressed by the New Age community. It's all about themselves. They will never address the control grid as a whole. And then you can argue, oh yes, well, when they focus on themselves, they are affecting the whole. That has a maxing out point, because if you do not loop back around to the 360-degree focus of human consciousness, then you're not truly focusing on yourself, because you are just a reflection of everybody else, just as everybody else is a reflection of you. So what happened to Malcolm X? What happened to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? What's happening right now to Mumia Abu Jamal, a political prisoner? What's happening right now to Leonard Peltier? What happened to Fred Hampton and all the other Black Panthers that were taken out by COINTELPRO? That is you. Not back then. That is you right now. All those people are you. The people who are locked up right now are you. The New Age has no answers for this. They think that the system will heal itself. It doesn't work like that. It's ignorant overall. That's like asking the king to hand over his crown. It's not going to happen like that. So until the human consciousness starts to connect these dots and realize that they're not going to give you any disclosure that's going to empower the people at all. I don't give a shit what they're talking about. Especially another obvious connection to this limitation program is the fact that everything is banking upon this disclosure. partial or full disclosure. What will the government do? Who knows? What will the cabal do? What will this group do? Will we understand the secret space program? Half the files or all the files? What will happen? You know what is happening? Nothing. People are in waiting. That's the design of the old program, like NASA, playing your emotions, constantly pulling you along on a string. Control. That's how you are controlled. Instead of controlling with low vibrations, they're controlling with hope, like Obama. Hope and positive vibrations. Hope for the future. This is what these channelers are doing. And yes, it is helping people on a certain perspective. But if you are herding people into another cage, it ceases to be help anymore. And there are too many connections that the New Age has to shiny cages of the future to not be looked at. There are too many proofs for that. So, on that note, listen to the energies coming through here, and listen to the after all I said, listen to the vibrations that are being pumped out by these energies. And these are just a few channelers. This is connecting to all of the other information that comes through the internet, all of those articles on your collectively conscious channels. This is what all these so-called conscious websites are about. They're about giving your power away. And I've mentioned this in previous videos at the same time. They will fill your mind and your spirit up with hope for the future. So much so that you will never actually engage in your reality. You will never tap into your meaning and your purpose because you are constantly waiting for somebody else to do something for you. That's an obvious design of disempowerment. And it makes sense to me that a parasitic consciousness, if it wanted to control people, hope for the future, it's a manipulation of time, is a way to do that. And if they can continue releasing partial information here and there that keeps you tugging on that string that they keep putting out there for you, waiting, is it happening? Is it happening? What's going to be next on the control grid? What will they do? If you're constantly looking for what will they do, you will never understand and tap into what you can do. These channelers focus on this watered down version of what you and we all can do. That is actually more vibrant in each individual tapping into that consciousness naturally, not having to give away their moment to bring in this watered down generic ass MTV version of human consciousness. That's what this is. MTV, VH1, MSNBC, CNN, human consciousness. It's the basic ass channels, basic cable television. And it's the same, it has the same effect as the mainstream basic cable television has for this reality.
This is discovering the core issue, and that is that you always have been and always will be in control of your life as a piece of God in this universe.
Duh. You don't have to go, you don't have to get you don't have to go into those, you don't have to give your whole body away to know that. You don't have to do that. This shit is already old. You can see what I'm saying. This shit is stale. It's watered down. And they're trying to like jumpstart the cable television of human consciousness so they could control it. And since we haven't had any of this information, since we haven't had, we've been constantly in a low vibrating energy for so long, people are just eating it. Oh, that's so beautiful. I relate to that so much. That's so wonderful. Yeah, and what about everything else?
I receive these blocks of energy.
We all
It's getting
do.
translated through my body into the language I was.
We are all that energy. We are all that information. We are all this language. You do not, when you give a part of your moment away, like these channelers do, to interpret that information into a particular language, you are watering down that energy, and you are simultaneously opening yourself up to other types of frequencies that might have ulterior motives. This is in relation to like the extremes of what I was talking about, the maximum potential of the human consciousness and the human experience in relation to the disembodied energies who have separated themselves from spirit. I have been labeling as the parasitic consciousness. The parasitic consciousness, if they can just sit back and let humanity destroy itself because it's in those low vibrations of fear, war, and destruction and separation on its own with the old religious programming, if they didn't need to engage in, if that energy didn't need to engage in the experience, then it won't. It doesn't want to waste energy. Nobody does. Nothing does. So now that the consciousness of the human experience is expanding, it needs to be more engaged. And since when you raise your vibration, you are not susceptible to the lower vibrations anymore, as much as you used to be, because that's the law of vibration. Any lower vibrations will have to adjust to the higher frequencies. It's an actual law of vibration. So if the human frequency as a higher vibration than a parasitic consciousness is raising, the parasitic consciousness has to attempt to raise its vibration in order to maintain control. And it has to water you down. This is another form of watering you down. This information, as beautiful as this information might feel and sound and whatever, it is a form of watering down your maximum potential. Which is specifically the reason why, how I'm seeing why the New Age community and these channelers and all this other stuff will never ever venture in to the globe model, deception, what happened to the indigenous and what's still happening to the indigenous and aboriginal people, and what's going on in the roots and the soils of humanity. It only needs to focus, it means to focus on the idea of an artificial future, the idea of technology. This is where all this spaceship shit comes in, with all this extraterrestrial worshipping. Oh, we're on this planet. We're in this star system. Oh, we're over here. Oh, I'm part of this. I'm part of the Pleiadians. I'm part of the Orion. I'm part of this. I'm part of that. These are all energies. The stars systems. This is what I was thinking about the other day. I thought this video was going to be a short video. But I forgot about this. I was thinking about the idea of planets and stars and how you are born. And when you are born, that's like a frequency. It's like a locking in. So people who are interpreting the flat earth realm and how the stars actually move around us instead of us barreling through space at however million miles an hour and all that other shit that's promoted by the NASA. The code, it's an actual code that you come in. And people who are into astrological charts and all that stuff will know what I'm talking about now, because I'm not into that, but I'm coming at it from a different perspective. It's the same perspective, but it's in reference to a different, like, my natural just observation of it from the flat earth realm. The stars, when you are actually born in that moment, that is a code. That code is in reference to who you are. And it's not just when you are born. It's also when that spark, when the sperm met the egg. It's also relative to the relationship that you have with your mother and your father between that spark of the sperm and the egg and your birth. It's also relative to between your birth and your kindergarten and graduating from high school and so on and so forth. It's a continual process that we are in relationship to the stars and the planets. They're not so much like Mars and the moon and the way it's planted, like created for us to believe in, like a body, like an actual, it's just another version of worshiping the physical body. When you believe Jupiter looks like they tell you it looks like, when you believe the Mars and all that other shit, that's CGI images. When you believe in the planets the way they are, you don't understand the light body energies of what those stars are. So I see those planets, and other people have too. I'm not like creating this or anything. I see that as an energy. It's an energy that is reflective, that is not at all separated from who and what we are. We are all manifestations of this light being formed out in different styles. The human body is just dense light that has zero separation from the most high energy of all creation, of the platforms where light can be able to dance. So, if we are manifestations of this earth plane experience, then you are a walking version of what the stars and the so-called planets have already maxed out as. They are like the higher minds of light body in different styles. Just like you can have different people, you have different planets, you have different archetypes. Like when people misquote the ancient Egyptians, and say, well, they had 1 million gods and all that stuff. No, those were principles. Those are actual energies. They did have relationships with the planets, with the so-called planets, which was energy. So when you understand them, those aren't necessarily gods. You can still see them as gods if you want to in reference to this, but it's easier to understand them as principles when you understand that if somebody has Virgo in their whatever house, it affects their reality in a way that adjusts their principles of who and what they are. So it's a coding in how the moon, the sun, the stars, and all these other so-called planets are adjusting. You choose how you want to come in, how you're coding. You choose your coding that you want to come into this reality as. And it's in direct relationship to the coding of the earth plane in relative to the stars and the so-called planets and so on and so forth. And each and every individual is completely different, like a snowflake. There's no one that's the same. Every other body it's an infinite version of balance. So when you are watered down with a peanut butter and jelly ass version of your reality, like the new age consciousness, then you are missing out on the maximum potential of your higher mind, all of the minds, your snowflake, your music, your harmonics. And when everything is watered down, it affects the entire shifting of consciousness. So just like, I didn't even think about this either, just like TYT and Alex Jones says, we're a part of we're the revolution. We're the revolution. We're doing this. Humanity is the revolution. Meanwhile, backing up Trump and Hillary, you know that ain't no fucking revolution. The same way they say that in reference to the revolution, the New Age says humanity is waking up. Humanity is expanding its consciousness. And when they say that, they catch your attention, and then you focus on how it's happening from their perspective. And you don't make a real connection from your perspective, your coding. It doesn't at all get addressed. So, on that note, I'll play the rest of this, and I pretty much hit all the points I wanted to make in reference to the planets and the stars and so on and so forth and the coding and all. But that adds a more of a deeper look into the reasons why things are the way they are in this so-called expansion of consciousness from a New Age perspective, and the actual shifting of reality individually and collectively from people understanding, understanding, and overstanding their relationships to the divine feminine, divine masculine, the conscious and subconscious reality. And these individuals, these channels and channelers are out here to muddy the waters, to water everything down.
Raised to understand, which in this case
this is ain't
I
new.
used to get information, wait, and regurgitate it. Now it's real time, and I feel
It's like celebrities. They try to be celebrities of human consciousness. How the fuck could you be a celebrity of human consciousness? Well,
real time in a trance
there it is.
state.
They describe channeling as tuning into a higher frequency of consciousness. The frequency of consciousness that you already are.
Right, so let us begin with the discussion.
See, when they focus all of this tuning in to a higher frequency of consciousness, it separates you from experiencing that consciousness. The very nature of channels and channelers is a limitation. The very nature of the relationship between a channel and a channeler is an inherent limitation. And you can see this when they constantly tell you, well, why aren't you doing it? Why are you asking me all these questions? You are that expression of God and all that other space, all that other stuff. It makes God out of limitation. It makes themselves to be a higher frequency. And you can say, oh, well, that's why they're here, to help us, to adjust us. Yeah, okay, up to a certain point. And how I'm seeing it, that point has already been made. Just like how some people listen to channels. Like I used to listen to channels and channelers. And then I started to see that there was a big ass limitation there. And there was a lot of information that they were not addressing on purpose. And if you expand that to a collective perspective, you can see that it has a devastating effect. It's like the tool. If you utilize a tool for too much, then you actually start to limit yourself.
The new consciousness right now is about the I am. It is actually about discovering yourself.
It's commercializing what is already natural to you. And when they commercialize it, they limit it. When it's commercialized, they can create another control grid.
You are an immortal being who has chosen to project itself into this game.
physical reality is simply a temporary manifestation, a mask, if you will, a projection of a greater consciousness that you are.
You create your realities, every bit.
This is some basic ass information. So this basic information, when it is channeled into a synthetic universe, like the NASA program, like the heliocentric model, then you can, that's the infrastructure of the new control grid. And these people don't see it like that. Because they're in that moment, they are channeling some you can listen, it's like wonders, it feels like wonderful information. But when you expand it out to the synthetic universe and the synthetic program, you see where I'm coming from.
Of your realities, from birth to death, and everything in between.
When people say, I know I'm powerless or I'm feeling powerless, you say, that's a story you're telling yourself. That's a story you're telling yourself based on fear.
The day that you start suppressing what you've been told,
That's the guy.
opening the door.
That's the guy who's been speaking at the United Nations like 7+ times or something like that.
To what God really is, in will come God, and it'll have your face on it. And so it is.
So I pretty much hit on everything that I wanted to hit on, and then some. I planned on just making like a short little 15-minute video. It's probably up to like my regular 50 minutes now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess I needed to just share that whole thing, focusing on channeling and so on. So yeah, if you see where I'm coming from, or if you have any, leave some comments or whatever, like, share, whatever. Appreciate that. I appreciate the support from everybody, and the subscribers, old and the new subscribers, and keep making as many videos as come naturally. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.